Hey everyone, welcome to Lovely J Podcast. I am Coco. Hope you're all having a great day. Today I'm going to be cooking some chicken and noodles. Y'all know we love chicken and noodles around here. It's cheap and it's easy to cook. I'm not going to say my recipe is a hard one because it really isn't. A lot of people like a lot of things in their chicken and noodles. And we're going to talk later on about when did you realize that racism still existed? Yeah, I think we should talk about that. Before, this is what, the last day of Black History? Yeah, we should really talk about that. I did celebrate Black History Month, and I did it in my own way. And that was by being thankful to those who paved the way for me and so many others. I posted as much as I could about it. Every time I saw something about Black history, I did post on it on my social media accounts. But I'm very thankful for those who came before me, like the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, even down to Farrakhan. Let me tell y'all about Farrakhan. Farrakhan may not be, he's Islam, right? But Farrakhan speaks with a lot of sense. Outside of him saying that, he believes in Jesus Christ and well, I don't know if he do or not, because I don't get that deep into him. But I like his teaching on how to treat people and how to stand up for yourself. I'm not going to lie, I like that. I like the way that he says that we should be treated as women. However, I'm not willing to change my religion to get that treatment, because I like my religion. I love where I'm at. Well, not religion, but I love my relationship with God where I'm at right now. But some of the things that he say is in the Bible. They just take it from the Bible and they add it to whatever books they want to add it to, the Quran or some other exchange. But I'm not here for that, to debate on who's right or who's wrong about whatever religion a person decides to choose. Because that's one thing that God did give us, is the right to choose whichever direction we want to go in life. And that's something that the Constitution also gives us, is freedom of speech and freedom of our liberties. But only the problem with this thing is the Constitution really isn't for black people. No, it's not. Get mad all you want to. But I had to learn the hard way about racism. I saw racism as I was growing up as a child, how my parents were treated differently at some of the stores, the local stores. I would call names, but at the same time, my parents did respect the people who owned these stores, because some of these people were the only places where they could get credit at. And that at this time, it's just like it is. Staying in debt to keep the family going. It's no difference now than what it was back then. The only difference is more money's involved now. But my parents, they had to get food on credit, get diapers on credit, hair supplies, clothing. And at the end of the month, they would have these big debts that they had to pay off, and then the cycle starts right back. So they couldn't get ahead. And I would always hear Mama say, "We can't get ahead like this, Marshall. We can't get ahead." They couldn't get ahead like they wanted to. And a lot of reasons for that is because of racism. A lot of times in our towns, we don't realize that racism still exists. And there's still some white people willing to make it hard on a black person. So I knew as a child we always had to deal with racism. And then as I started growing up in my 20s, I didn't really pay attention to it. To me, it didn't seem as bad in my 20s and my 30s. And that's because I wasn't paying attention to it. I wasn't focused on it. I was out here drinking and partying and doing my thing. And at the time when you're able to work and make good money, you don't care about who is calling the shots. You really don't even pay attention. As long as you get what you want, it's like, forget about everybody else. So during that time, I really did not pay attention to how bad it was. Now, I have always paid attention to police brutality for the simple fact of the things that I went through as a black woman. So I've always paid attention to that. But I never let it take root in me, never let it get me to the point where I felt like I needed to protest or anything, that resembles protest. I just dealt with the consequences of what had been done and moved on. Now I'm looking back and I'm saying, what if I would have said more? Would that have helped things out? And I don't know if it would or would have not, but it's a thought that does cross my mind sometimes, because I did stand up for myself, and I think that's why I was disliked a lot, because I was standing up for myself, whether it be to an officer or whomever was in charge. I always had my own way of thinking and doing things. But so has it. Now. Here I am, fast forwarding into the 40s. I'm in my upper 40s, and I'm looking back, and it took 2022 for me to come back to the real sense of what's going on around me and say racism is still alive. I didn't think much about the things that were happening to my home back last year or the year before. And as a matter of fact, I thought I was having normal wear and tear, and I thought the noise was normal because we had this big meal that's, this, like you can hear, I don't know, y'all might can hear the train in my background. So somewhere along the line where that train is at, there's also some factories. And I thought the noise was coming from the factories until I learned that you can put a generator out there to produce noise and aim it at somebody's house and harass them with noise. And another thing I learned is that you can put chemicals in people's yard to stop their grass from growing, to cause them to stay sick off in scents, and what else? Stay sick off scents. You can just cause anything to die off of these horrible chemicals, including people. You can cause somebody to get really sick. But that's when I realized that racism is still alive, and I would have not thought nothing of it. But for about a year, I was telling my children, I was saying, y'all don't smell that smell. For a year, I smelled this certain scent in my house, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to stress out about it. Maybe it's just coming from these new factories that's up, because sometimes, they let out these fog smokes, and you don't know what be in them things, and they could be causing it to be funky. So I didn't think nothing about it. Y'all, I gotta cook and talk, okay? Because I got granddaughters to feed before it's bedtime. But I didn't think nothing about it. What gave it away? Oh, y'all better listen up to what gave it away. What y'all think gave it away? That all of that stuff was not true, what I was thinking in my head, that it wasn't the factories doing it, but it was people. What gave it away was when they set the scent off one day. Well, when the scent set off one day, I went outside. When I started smelling it, I went outside, and I was like, I just got to get out of here. Let me go outside and get some fresh air, because I thought it was only in my house. And it wasn't. It was in and around my house. To this day, I don't know what it was, but I can tell you this. The old man met me. I met the old man. He was heading back to where he lived until I spotted him, and I just started talking, and I just started doing like exercises and things, to try to calm it down some, and at the same time, this man kind of catches me off guard too, because to be honest, I didn't know that man was back there. And here I am this whole time. I done went like 11 years not even locking my front door. Didn't have the need to lock the front door. Nobody bothered me like that. Or they may have bothered me like that. But if they did, I didn't realize they were here. But anyway, this guy, once I spotted him, I was like, hey, do you need some help? Do you need some help? And he started talking to me. Who lives over here? This old raggedy trailer. Who lives over here? And he started talking about how he had been peeping through the blinds and, the windows to see what was in it, I guess because of how I kept the yard, he probably felt like didn't nobody live here. And I'm going to tell you, ladies, if you are single, keep your home as if a man do still stay with you. Because I feel like, especially single black women, when they find out we single and we black, they attack us like, and they is racist people. Because racist people. Just anyways, keep your grass up. If you can't do nothing else in your home or can't afford nothing else, pay somebody to cut your grass and keep your yard up. Because that will say somebody's there of strength. Because if they just see you as a woman, they don't see no strength on a woman. I don't care who it is. I don't care how strong that woman is. It could be Oprah Winfrey. If Oprah did not have, what's that man that be on her side? God, what is his name? I forgot his name, y'all. But Stedman. If she didn't have Stedman on her side, she probably would get taken advantage of a lot too. Now, we know how that roll, but we ain't going to get into Oprah relationships. But I'm using that as an example to say that when a woman is single and it's obvious, that woman gets taken advantage of. And that woman goes through a lot of, y'all, I'm pouring this water in this chicken, goes through a lot of harassment because of it. Alright, once I get this going, y'all, I'm going to go into the living room and sit and let this chicken boil until it's done for about 45 minutes. But I'm going to take time and finish talking to y'all. So that man was going by how my yard looked, because my yard did look bad. It looked really bad. And some of the bad that was in my yard, I know I did not do. I did not do all that stuff to my yard that was out there. Because at this time, I was barely going outside. Y'all, my life was so inactive that I didn't even have curtains up. I went to change my curtains one day, and at this time, I was going through some type of major depression. I didn't know what was going on with me. Now I know, though. I know what it was now. But I was going through so much mentally at the time, I did not even put no curtains up. And so this man walks by, and he's been looking in my house the whole time, sizing up who lives here and who don't live here, basically saying that nobody live here and this was abandoned house that needed to be tore down. And I was like, what in the world? What gives people the right to even come onto somebody else's property and even make that type of suggestion to them? Not only was it suggested about me, but it was suggested about the other side, my neighbors. And the guy said he wanted to buy the whole spot up. That's what he said. He said, if I can, I will buy this entire side up. And and do what I want to do with it because I don't want nobody around me. And I was like, what? He said, I don't want nobody around me. And I was like, oh my God. And then, so I just start, playing it off. And then he starts telling me about how my granddaddy took the land from him. My great granddaddy, who brought this property that I live on. He started telling the story of how they were bidding on this property and my granddaddy had the money to get it and he didn't have the money to get it. So the only thing that really kept him being nice to my granddaddy was the fact that my granddaddy was a nice man, that he was a man of business. So I need to put on my business suit, right? He was a man of business. That's the only thing that kept that man being nice to him. But outside of that, that man was prejudiced in his tone, his undertone. And to this day, I still have trouble with people coming around, that's not supposed to be here. And a lot of it is coming from gentrification and racism, because when you have what they call poor people, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't identify as poor. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I pay my bills, I pay taxes, I do what I'm supposed to do as an American citizen. I feed my family, myself, and if my family come, they got it too. They already know it. I am a law-abiding citizen. I don't do no illegal things. None of that. And yet, it's planted to make me look as if I am not a law-abiding citizen and to make me look as if I'm delusional and making all this stuff up. And the truth is, when somebody wants what you got, they will do everything they can do to make others think that you're the one that's crazy. So that racism started kicking in, playing, and Lord have mercy. And I tell you, that's when I started opening up my eyes to realizing that racism is more than real. It's still happening. It's still happening daily. So when we celebrate Black History Month, some of you only celebrate for a month. I celebrate every day, because it's every day that I'm a Black woman that's under some type of persecution. Racism is so bad, they found a way to make not only white people hate Black people, but Black people hate Black people. When I see the informants that are in this town, I'm like, don't you know you're bringing down your own history? You're bringing down your own race. And they have planted this propaganda in the mind that if you can get the bad ones out, then the good ones will do better. Let me break it down for you. If we can get the bad Black people out of our town, then the good Black people that's here, you would do better and there would be more opportunities for you. That's what it all boils down to. Gentrification. I never thought that I would have to face something like this. But racism is real. Certain people are allowed to do what they want to do in town or outside the outskirts of town. And others, like me, we have to beg. We have been begging. At this point, it's begging to put homes onto the property that I live on. Homes that are not single-wide mobile homes versus double-wide and modular homes. It's a lot of people can afford single-wides, and sometimes that's the only thing a person will get approved for versus what some of these people, the modular and the double-wides, not everybody can afford that. Not even a two-parent working home can afford that sometimes, because the prices are so high now. Back in the day when you could get a double wide for $60,000, yeah, it was doable then. But now you're looking at paying $130,000 just for a small double wide. And I'm not talking about with any length. I'm talking about a small double wide. What's the smallest they got? Probably that amount. I want to see something right quick. Can I bring in the other phone? I may have. Let me see. But it's expensive these days. Give me a little time. Y'all don't mind. I'm really just coming out the bed too. But I'm not going to tell y'all that story because I don't want to get off topic. But racism has been going on for a long time. Let me see. I'm looking for something. And if y'all would give me a second to find it. But yeah, if you don't know better, you can't do better. And at the time, I did not know better that things like this could happen. I always felt like not in my town. But I was wrong. I was wrong. It can happen in anybody's town. Y'all hear that noise in the background? I hate that thing when it comes on. It's that refrigerator. Should it be sounding like that? It's probably been tampered with, to be honest. But yeah, that guy told me he did not want no blacks over here. He didn't want no Mexicans over here, Hispanics. He said that he wanted to be here by himself and only that you know where I got the, as a matter of fact, you know where I got the term blackball from? I got it from him. One day the power went off and everybody's power was on except for his. But ours had went off too. And ours was off for like 8 hours. His was off for 8 hours. But we started getting our power on first. And I don't know why that is. But anyway, he didn't get his on at the same time we did. And he came over here and he was like, "You got power? What you doing with power?" I said, "I don't know. It just came on." And then he was like, "Well, I must be blackballed then because everybody's got power except for me. And that ain't right." And I was like, "Well, I didn't know nothing about it." And that makes me feel like at the same time that my entire community being is in some type of, I don't know what this is called, what they're doing. But it's in some type of something that's not good for any of us. Not for any of us. But this racism thing is real. And I think the older we get, the more we will see what we couldn't see when we were younger. When I was younger, I couldn't see into racism like that. But as I get older, it's like, oh my God, this is so sad, and I just hate that we have to go through. And you would think at 2024 we'd be far and beyond this, but we're not. The work has even begun to start in this area, because for one thing, the people that know that it goes on, they're not brave enough to speak up about it. And I suspect I wouldn't be brave enough to speak up about it as much either. I mean, on here I give you bits and pieces, but I don't, at this range of life and what has been done to me, I don't think I could just speak up and carry something solid right now until I made sure that my well-being was well. And I know a lot of people want whistleblowers, but honey, I don't think I could be that right now. I think God has certain people assigned to do jobs like that, and those people that he got assigned, they can do it, and then they can bring us in as help. Those of us who agree with them, they can bring us in as help to support their cause, but not be the initial ones to start it. And I have to just admit that sometimes I am better at background work than I am being in the front of things. I'm trying to see if I can find any of the videos that I have that may be related. I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to be able to find them. So if you're dealing with racism, how do you cope with it? I'm going to tell you how I cope with it. I cope with it like the Bible teaches me to. Sometimes I turn the other cheek, and then sometimes I just try to see if there's any way to work out our differences, or just continue to. Sometimes I might ignore it. And sometimes that's the best route, is to take your records, have your records, but don't try to go and do nothing on your own. Because racism is not tricky. Everybody knows racism is for one thing, and that's to get rid of the black race. That's what it's for. Let me get me some water. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that water's good. But that's what it's for. We still have superior people. And I'm going to go as far as saying this. A lot of people that work in schoolhouses especially are there just so they can indoctrinate our young boys and girls and slow down their learning. It's not that all these kids have a hard time of learning. It's that some of these teachers play mind games the same way they do with parents. They'll play these mind games with parents, have the parents come over 2-3 times out of the week, missing out on their jobs to see about their son's grades, but then won't do anything to help the son or daughter have better grades. Won't teach where the child can understand. See, you got to understand, when it comes down to racism, it's hidden today. It's still here. It's hidden. But it's coming out. It's getting bolder. Each year it's getting bolder as, I say, the new generation begins to take over. It gets bolder because, see, with each generation, we have different types of thinkers that come out. Thinkers and movers and shakers that come out. So that means you got bolder and wiser peoples of all races. Whatever racism comes out in that generation, then you got a black generation that grows up and has defense against it. And as they all start to grow up and go against one another, it's just a continued ongoing thing, which comes from hate. That's what racism comes from. It comes from hate. Let me see. From superior people. And that's why you gotta be careful. Please listen to your children. If they're telling you that they're having difficult times in school, listen to them. Don't brush them and throw them aside, because it's certain teachers out here assigned to your children to bring your children down. If they don't bring them down through the education wise, they'll bring them down emotionally, make them feel bad about themselves, so that they can't do good, so that they won't do good. They won't have the emotional energy to do good because they have already been talked down so bad to by these teachers. Y'all, I'm doing stuff and talking to you at the same time. And I know many may not agree with me, especially if you got teachers that are, you got teachers as your family member, or you are a teacher, you might not agree with me. That might not happen to you. And that's good. If it ain't never happened to you, to God be the glory. But it does happen to some people, and we have to keep that in mind, that some of these teachers only went to school so that they could be part of keeping the black race in hindrance. They didn't go to school to learn to teach everybody. They had certain people in mind that they wanted to either help or hold back. And I look at the black educators today. They'll stand in the picket line for that money. But they won't stand and say, well, I think you're treating this black child unfairly. They won't do that. But they'll stand and say that we want our raises. But they don't stand for the child, him or herself. And I've seen this happen before. That's why I can speak on it. Because I've seen this type of operation before. I'm done moving that stuff so y'all can hear me better now. But either way it goes, it still exists and we still have work to do. And I do say we because it may not be a group thing for some people. It may be an individual thing for some people. It may just be isolated cases in some areas. But in other areas, it's in the huge numbers. Yeah. All right, y'all. So that's all I had to really say on that. I don't want to talk too much on it because it's a lot of emotional pain when it comes to racism. I've been hurt so bad in these last few years emotionally that even talking about it just can bring on chest pain or just make me upset. And that's the last thing I need to do. So I don't want to talk about it too much. But I just wanted to touch on it as Black History goes out and let us know that the fight is still very real. We still need to stand and help one another. Stop wanting to be part of everything because everything that you're part of may not necessarily be good for the entire race of black people. You may be harming a black woman or man and think you're doing a good thing. I look at how many black people that have gotten behind me, that have followed me in the store, have stared at me evil looking because they signed up for Community Watch or Community Blocks and Control Pro and all that, InfoGuard. They sign up for these programs and then they come out and they look at you hateful, not knowing what's going on in the background. Some of them do know and others don't know that we get hurt in the background. I'm talking about physical assaults in our own home. While they may tell you don't touch us, there's a number of people that they tell to touch us, to jump on us, to hurt us. And it's coming from a racist point of view because I don't think, I can't tell for sure where this came from that I'm under. I really don't know because one, I was into it with the town hall about being able to bring these homes in. And then I got into it with some other people that I kept trying to run off from the property. And I just don't know where it comes from. But I do know racism is a part in it. And I pray one day to be free from it. I'm going to say I am free from it. And I'm just going to let them continue to do what they got to do. And I'm going to keep on trusting God regardless of what. But yeah, I be seeing the black people who be trying to walk around thinking they scaring somebody, gonna get scared. Y'all keep on, because y'all just as much in the program as I am. And as a matter of fact, you in it more than me because you signed the contract. They threw me in it illegally as an experiment, but y'all are in it by contract. And you're not allowed to do certain things. You have a handbook that you have to go by. Whereas to me, all I'm to do is to live my life and try my best to endure whatever torture comes my way. But yeah, I have went to events with people and saw black people that asked me, do I want something? I said, yeah, I want it. I'll take it. And I just got where I stopped taking stuff from people because people got where they would ask me, do I want something? And then when I get it, something would be off about it. Like, one person gave me a whole bottle of ranch, and it was just tore up. The whole top of it was tore up. It hadn't been opened, but the paper on it was tore up. And then somebody else fixed me a plate one time, and they threw the sides everywhere on the plate. And I was like, you wouldn't even feed that to your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother. Why you want to give that to me? But they was under the program. Yep, they was under that program that tells them this is what you have to do. Because this person that you are investigating, this is what they call it, a investigative subject. And we need you to detail everything that this person does while they're within your sight. And that's racism. The FBI came out with that mess, and it's racism. It's a violation of our constitutional rights, our civil rights, our liberties. And that's where the Constitution and everything else, the amendments, all plays a part in what's going on in America. That Constitution is not being served to everybody. Everybody doesn't get that. We get parts of it. And that's only what part they want us to have. We don't have anything in whole. You can't even get, if black people were to tell the truth, even the ones that's in the White House and working in the White House, they know that it's only so much they can say and do and get away with. Even they don't have that type of right that you think. They fighting for it. But they yet to have it. They haven't arrived there yet. This is our fight. This is our fight. I never thought where freedom of speech would cause me, or just speaking would cause me to get hurt. And then again, I look at Martin Luther King and I say, well, they got him. And it's just true that most of what we're supposed to be protected under is not protecting and serving. It's there as paper, and it only works for certain people. That's all I gotta say. It only works for certain people, and that's no point intended to my white sisters and brothers that are very good to me and nice to me. That's to the ones that are racist. To the ones that are racist, I'm just gonna continue to pray for them. But the ones that are racist, when they treat us bad, they treat us really bad. And they don't just go for us, they go for shaming us so bad in front of our children that when our children grow up, they grow up with hate in them because they don't like what happened to us. And now their fight may either turn to be on the streets or in the White House. Sorry about that. I don't know what my throat just did. It did something. Their fight is going to be a fight because of what we're going through right now. They're picking up on this. They're seeing the struggle that we fight with. They're seeing that when we lash out sometimes, it's not necessarily because we're mad at them, But we're mad at the system that we can't be free. We can't speak free. We can't live in our homes freely without being surveillanced. We're mad. It's a number of us mad. And we're mad because they took our family members and they turned them against us. They took family members that normally we would talk with, get around, celebrate the holidays with, and now it's like we don't even talk, or either we're enemies. And these are family members probably never even had a problem with, because the government turned them to informants. All right, y'all, so I'm done with that. Yeah, I'm done with that because I ain't finna get pissed off this evening. I done said enough. What I'm fixing to do is I'm fixing to cut my oven on so I can get some heat up in here and put me on a movie. And I hope that you all have had a great day and that you will have a great evening. And I got a few more minutes on that. That chicken got cooked for about 30 more minutes, I think. I didn't know it was this cold in here. Whew, Lord. Did y'all watch Mea Culpa? I can't stand that movie. Oh, Tyler Perry messed that one up. I watched it, y'all. Go check out my review on YouTube. It's on there. I left a review about it on YouTube, so if you go check that out, you'll see what I had to say about it. I'm not going to tell y'all here, because I already got something out about it. But go check it out and put in the comments what you think about it if you watched it. All right, y'all. Peace, love, and happiness. Y'all have a great one.